Welcome to Triple T and Me. Thank you so much for watching today. I'm thankful that today my guest is Ben Slaton. Notice my background is a Butler Bulldog because that's where he went to college and played college basketball. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. How you doing today, Ben?
Doing pretty well. Doing really well. Working from home. Have a nice little lunch break. It's good.
Great. Well, what do you think about all this? And do you think there's something that we can learn from this interesting season of life and carry it over into life when it goes back to normal?
Yeah, it is definitely just interesting times, unprecedented. I think one thing that I have a better appreciation for is, the doctors and the nurses and the medical professionals that are, on the front lines, saving people's lives. Just a newfound respect and appreciation for them that I kind of take for granted before. And now it's just very apparent. So very thankful for that. And, also just the people, doing trash and working at the restaurants and, just these essential industries that they still are working. So, looking at how much they're paid and should be better compensated. So that kind of comes to mind. But also just, things about how to, sacrifice a little bit and stay at home for the better of humanity. There's just little things that we can do to help save people's lives, and we should be doing it. So it's kind of interesting seeing the different opinions and how people are reacting. But ultimately, we want to help our fellow person survive. I might add too that just, the time with the family, with your immediate family, staying at home with wife and two little boys. It's kind of been a blessing to get to spend that time with them that ordinarily I would not be having nearly as much time at home with them. So it's a blessing to be able to do that and to still be able to keep in touch with, my parents and brother and stuff through FaceTime. Kind of brought us to talk more because of this. So I think that's a positive.
Definitely. So you went to Columbus East and played basketball there. What's some highlights of your time being a student and a basketball player at Columbus East?
Yeah, I think for a student being, having a lot of good teachers at East, I remember, Mr. and Mrs. Hayro for Spanish and Mr. Gutyar for math, Mr. Lewis, Mr. Ney, some really good teachers I had during those 4 years that really helped me learn a lot. And then, playing basketball just really developed some good friendships that, carry forward to this day. So, we didn't have the greatest success after, sectionals and regionals and all that, but we, had some good teams and just the time spent with my teammates, on and off the court and, the pasta dinners and just the road trips and the summer camps and all that were just some really fun times that I look back on, and it was some good times.
Awesome. How was the rivalry when you were there at school between you and North?
Yeah, it was intense. That was definitely the biggest game of the year, was Columbus North. Good and hard-fought games. I think we won 3 and lost 1. We lost my senior year, so that was a real bummer. But, growing up, you play against those guys and played with them in middle school and stuff, so you know all of them really well. It's just kind of, the crowd and just the environment and atmosphere is pretty awesome for those East-North games and, full, stands of people. So yeah, it was a good time.
Awesome. I always enjoy going to that game every year, both in basketball and football. It's always great.
Yeah, agreed.
And then you went on to Butler. What played a role in you deciding to go to Butler?
Well, I wanted to keep playing basketball, and I wanted to try to play at the highest level I could. I didn't have lots of, offers for D1, but I decided that I wanted to try to play anyway. So I went to Butler as a preferred walk-on. I kind of went to Todd Licklider, who was the coach at the time, and just asked him if I could, come and play. And he said, yeah, we have a spot for you. So I knew I wasn't going to play a lot, but I wanted the opportunity, and I kind of thought I'd regret not doing it if I didn't. So decided to go to Butler, and, being an hour from my house and being close to family and a good school, good business school kind of was a kicker for me. So it was a good fit. Smaller class sizes. I didn't need a huge school. So it worked out. It was a good fit.
Great. So what are some of your highlights of being a student and being on the basketball team there?
I'd say as far as basketball, we made it to a Sweet 16 my sophomore year. So we lost to Florida, who ended up winning the national championship in a close game. They had like 3 or 4 NBA players, Hakeem Noah and Al Horford and Corey Brewer and some of these really good guys. So that was, real excitement and kind of a highlight. Earlier in that season, we went to the preseason in IT and beat IU and Notre Dame, and then we went to Madison Square Garden and beat Tennessee and Gonzaga. So that was, really awesome experience to do that, even though I wasn't a big contributor playing wise, but, just being there was awesome. So some of those kind of memories that you really you don't want to ever forget. And, it's kind of good bragging rights. So that was a lot of fun. And just, as far as same as high school, the teammates, spending all that time with them really developed some good friendships, and even in, conditioning and off-season workouts and practice and working basketball camps. Just a lot of, road trips were always fun. I got to go eat nice meals and, get to be out of class for a little bit. It definitely wasn't a cakewalk. You had to still study on the bus and in the hotel and stuff. So had to do the work, but it was nice kind of getting out sometimes.
Very cool. So did you play for Coach Stevens before you graduated?
Yeah, so he was an assistant my freshman, sophomore year, and then my junior year, Brad Stevens took over when Coach Leclerc went to Iowa. So Brad was his, first year, and we had a pretty good run. I didn't know that he was going to be the one to take over, but, he was definitely the right, good fit for it. And you could tell that just, his X's and O's and, savvy and kind of just his demeanor. He was good. He was going to be good. So it was interesting to see that, and then to see him leave and coach the Celtics and, go even before that, go to the national championship 2 years in a row. So that was right after I graduated. The year after I graduated, they went to the national championship and lost on a buzzer beater to Duke. So, and I got to go to that game, so that was awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was so close, but yeah, it was good. So really enjoyed playing. And my senior year, I decided not to play. I went to study abroad in Chile in South America. So I really wanted to do that because I was like a marketing and Spanish major, and I wanted to really get fluent in Spanish. And I wasn't guaranteed any playing time senior either. So I was like, I'm going to do this. So it was an interesting experience and a challenge. All the classes were taught in Spanish, so it really tested me to learn it. But it was cool. I'm glad I did that.
You still able to speak Spanish then pretty well?
Yeah, I don't really do it much, so I would definitely be rusty. I could understand it mostly, and I could read it. As far as speaking, I would probably, I would struggle some. Just if you don't use it, you kind of lose it.
Right. Well, that's pretty cool, though. I know you well enough to know that faith is a big part of your life. And so what caused that to be the case for you?
Yeah. So I grew up in the church. My parents went to First Baptist when I was growing up, a little kid. We went to First Christian for when I was in high school. Then I went to college, and I guess I got baptized when I was about 15 years old, right after September 11 terrorist attacks. Kind of just hit me hard that, hey, I want to make this formal declaration of my faith and get baptized because I hadn't done it. I'd always gone to church and believed in God, and but I wanted to make a formal thing of it. And so that happened when I was 15. And then after college, graduated, got engaged, came back to Columbus, and joined and went to First Christian. That's where I met you. And then ultimately went to First Baptist, that's where I am now. So, always been connected to a family at church. And I think now, it really hits home with children that you want to have them be raised in the church and raised to believe in God and, to live the right way. And so that's, really critical for me, and want to make sure that, I provide that to my kids just like my parents did with me. So yeah, getting more engaged in First Baptist and kind of, stretching myself and kind of getting on the, church council and really understanding how the church works from the, back end business side of it and everything. But, trying to raise our little kids. There's kind of a cohort of us that have little young, under 3 or 4 year olds, just trying to, stay together and, see what happens for our church.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of you for, like you said, being stretched. Sometimes we get very comfortable in our comfort zone and don't take the next step that God may be nudging us to take. So I commend you for, even if it's stretching you, to be willing to do that. So props to you, man.
Yeah,
so you're welcome. So I know you work at Cummins. How long have you been there, and what do you do there?
So I've worked at Cummins 9 years now. So I started in 2011. I've worked in, project management roles, plant, roles, materials, scheduling, production kind of environment. And now I work at Cummins Emission Solutions, and I'm an account manager. So on the sales side with PACCAR. PACCAR has the Kenworth and Peterbilt trucks that you probably semi trucks you see on the highway. So I take care of them. Do all the make sure that they're taken care of, delivery, quality, their contracts, the pricing, all of that. So I've been in that role about 3 years now, and yeah, it's good. That's one good thing about working at a large corporation is you get a chance to do a lot of different roles, develop different skills, work with different people. So I've enjoyed that part of it.
So growing up in Columbus, did you see yourself working at Cummins?
Well, not really. My dad worked at Cummins, all my years growing up, and I was like, I'm not going to go work there. I'll do my own thing. But basically just, I think God had a plan for me, and that's how it worked out. I worked up in Indianapolis at a small internet bank, and, it just wasn't long-term, not a good spot for me for growth and development, advancement. So it was, 2010 timeframe when it was kind of a tough job market, but had people looking out for me to kind of help me work my way, get into Cummins, and just much better opportunities, and been really blessed because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Hard times right now. A lot of industries people are losing jobs. We're taking pay cuts, so it's not an easy time. But it's been, company's been around over 100 years, 101 years. So I think there's light at the end of the tunnel. Just it's rough at the moment.
I'm sorry to hear that. Thanks for sharing, though. I appreciate you sharing what you do. I know sometimes it can just seem kind of a foreign language to me and to others that don't work at Cummins when we talk about, hey, what do you actually do at Cummins? Because there's such a big company, and there's so many different aspects of the company. Being someone who has grown up in Columbus, how has it been seeing a lot of change, like just seeing how it has grown?
I think it's just gotten a lot more diverse, and I think a large part Cummins and some of these other large companies that, are bringing in people from all over the world, from, India, China, South America. So just an influx of, professionals coming to this area has benefited Columbus, just different thoughts and ideas, different, culture, different food, go downtown and you've got these ethnic restaurants, popping up. So I think it's been a good thing. I think, Columbus has become kind of known as, a spot with, Cummins is a lot of times synonymous with Columbus, but, just the money that's been put into the city and the, what they're doing to kind of improve the city and long-term planning. And, it's exciting to see that. And I really think, Columbus, it's a great place to raise a family. I kind of Wasn't always sure if I would come back, but now that I'm back and have family, it's just a really good place to raise children. And there's lots of opportunities and good school systems, and it's just a safe place. So there's a lot of benefits to this city that kind of take for granted. When you're younger, you kind of take it for granted, but as you get older, you kind of can tell more what sets different cities apart from each other and what it takes. So it's been nice. I'd like to get my brother. He lives in Madison, Wisconsin. He's probably not moving anytime soon, but that's one thing I'd like to get him a little bit closer. My parents would like to have him a little closer, but probably won't happen for a while.
Well, I hope that works out eventually, though. That would be nice. Well, what do you love most? I'm sure there's a lot of things you love about it, but what do you love most about being a husband and a father of 2 boys?
I love that I'm married to my wife, my best friend. And so that's just been a real blessing. So that, that first and foremost, I'm really happy to have her. And then, we got blessed with 2 little boys. So it's just awesome to, see them grow and, start developing, do walk, crawl, and talk. And just getting to see things through their eyes, Easter, going to Easter egg hunt, and Christmas and birthday and all that. It's cool to see and know that that's my kid, my son and our son. And, I think it helps me feel more like complete and, more, fulfilled in just daily life. And, going through the times we're dealing with right now, it would be hard to be on my own. I'm just thinking, if I'm stuck in my house and I don't have my family and it would be a lot rougher. But with the family, it's manageable, and I just makes you feel more blessed and fortunate. So yeah, 2 little boys. I got Grant is 2, and then Reed is 7 months. So they're growing fast, and just excited to see, get to interact with them more and more as they start to get older. So yeah, it's exciting.
That's great. And I'm sure there's not many dull moments at your house.
No, it's chaotic a lot of times, especially my wife, on hearings on the phone, and me trying to take calls on the phone and work. And so we kind of have to divide and conquer. One of them locks herself in a room, and the other one manages the kids for little spurts. So it's interesting, you kind of see videos and memes about it. It makes you laugh. But we know it's, and it could be somewhat the new normal, but, we are managing it. So it's all
right.
good.
Right. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time. Ben, it's great talking to you. Before we wrap up, is there any last message you would like to give to viewers?
Well, I like watching Dr. Fauci and kind of his comments, and I feel like he's a voice that people can trust. And so, the talks about reopening the economy, and we all want things to get back to normal, but, we really want to stop the virus. So I'm just hoping that, people will respect that and kind of wait for us to get ways to test and not really rush going back to work and infecting older and vulnerable populations. So just hoping that we can, not have a spike, and that's, a key thing.
For sure. Well,
pray for the leaders, pray for our country, leaders, and just help give them guidance and do the right things.
Absolutely. Well, I'd love to do that right now, Ben. Not only pray for our leaders, but also pray for you and your family.
Okay.
Lord, I thank you so much for Ben, and I thank you for his family. I pray for them, and just thank you for the blessing that it is for them to be together. But I know it can be really chaotic at times. I just pray that you would help them to see the blessing in it, and that this would be time that they would cherish and be able to look back years from now and just see how it was great to be home, even though we wish it was better circumstances that we were home. And Lord, I just thank you for Ben sharing about his faith and his journey, and thank you for him and Mallory raising their boys in church. And just Lord, I pray for, as Ben mentioned, our leaders in this time. I just pray that you would give them wisdom, give them clarity on what we should do next and what decisions should be made. And Lord, we just thank you for our leaders. We thank you for our country. And Lord, we pray for other countries that are in a very interesting season too, because this virus has wreaked havoc on most countries at this point. And Lord, we're just thankful that we have hope in Jesus. And I pray all this in his name. Amen. Thanks, Ben.
Yeah, thanks, Tyler. Appreciate it. Look forward to hanging out with you when we get back.
For sure, man. That'll be great.